This is Rebel Therapist, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are trained as therapists and who want to level up their businesses, make a bigger impact, feel fulfilled, and be very well paid. I'm your host, Annie Schusler. I'm about to talk about getting hard stuff done. First, I want to invite you to work with me up close over 11 weeks to create your signature program so you can start working and making money in a new way. We're going to walk through the process step by step in a small group, and we start soon. The very last day to register is Tuesday, March 26th. Spots are limited in this program, so don't hold off. And I cannot wait to work with you and see you inside. So go to rebeltherapist.me/create to learn more about it and sign up. It's called Create Your Program. And again, you're going to find it at rebeltherapist.me/create. All right, here we go. I've had a hard time figuring out how to talk to you about this because I never want to be a dream killer or a bummer. If you're thinking of creating and launching a signature program, I do want you to do it. And I'm going to talk about one of the hardest parts of that process today. And then I am also going to talk about how to handle this difficult part. In Create Your Program, I help a small group of therapists create their high-quality, high-touch, niched programs. And then I help them launch those programs so they can actually start making money. Those programs bring these entrepreneurs significant ongoing incomes. Some folks choose to shrink or close their therapy practices or leave their agency jobs once their programs are established. And one really hard part of that whole process is launching the program, especially the first time. Launching basically means sharing your program with people. Launching involves two really hard things. You got to be more visible and you have to ask for help. You have to be visible when you launch because you need to share your program with people so they can sign up to work with you. You cannot be shy about it. You also have to ask for help because you're going to need other people to help you spread the word. Launching is not the hardest part of the process at all in terms of the skills that you need, and it's not the most time-consuming part either. But emotionally, it can be really hard, especially for sensitive souls. We feel vulnerable and exposed when we're launching, and we might even worry that we're bugging people. On top of all of that, most of the people in Create Your Program have not launched this kind of program before, so these are really new muscles that they're using. And launching can give them queasy feelings. When something is emotionally hard and it makes one feel queasy, a lot of times we find a way to avoid it. In Create Your Program, up until now, I always walked the participants all the way up to that launching finish line. Participants got training and structure from me to create their own launch plan. And then I encouraged them to take brave steps and asked people to take some of that action on the final day of the program. Some people did that. I ask participants to always share their announcement emails with me. Those are the emails that they send out to their colleagues and their communities. And I always received some of those on the final day of the program and a bunch more in the following days and weeks. A lot of people would use the momentum of the program to follow through and continue implementing what they started in their launch plans. But some other people would put it off. And they would say that they weren't quite ready, or they would say that they had started reconsidering the niche that they had chosen, or they would say that life started getting in the way, so they didn't get around to it yet, or many things that sounded very valid. Now, I'm going to tell you as a very direct coach, these people were ready to launch and they wanted to launch. They really were ready enough. And they had already done enough work on their niches. They had indeed done everything they needed to do in order to launch their pilot programs. So when I was describing this to my former business coach, Claire Pelletreau, she said, you have to walk them all the way over the finish line. And I had to think about that for a minute. And then I knew she was right. And immediately I made a change to the process in Create Your Program. And I'm going to describe that in just a minute. So let's talk about how we get ourselves over the finish line to accomplishing hard things in our businesses and in our lives in general. Accountability and support really help. But you know what else really helps? is a hard ass deadline. Accountability buddies usually don't cut it for the really hard stuff. They are so great for getting us focused, but they're not necessarily what we need for getting over the finish line with the very hardest things. So I've got 2 short examples for you: taxes and art. This just came up for me around my taxes. I get intimidated every year by the process of my taxes, even though I work with an accountant. I've been trying to get my part of my taxes done for a while now, and my accountant has a policy that once you turn in all of your documents to her, then you can schedule an appointment with her. So I tried to get my stuff done, and then I called the office and I begged them to please give me an appointment first, and I promised I will get all the docs turned in 2 weeks before that appointment. And they agreed. So now I have a hard-ass deadline. And now I'm working on assembling my tax stuff, and I will absolutely have it ready. I needed that deadline. So as you're listening to this on or after March 19th, I promise you I have already handed in my documents to my accountant because that hard-ass deadline worked for me. My partner is a neon artist, and they're also a neon sign maker. Most days they make and repair neon signs for people and businesses, or they create the neon aspects of art pieces for other artists. But they make incredible art themselves. And almost all of the art they create happens when they've got a show coming up, because being part of a show means having a hard-ass deadline. They sometimes say, I should make more art, or I want to make more art. They talk to their artist friends about making art, and they'll get inspired thinking about what they'd like to make next. But it's the deadline that gets them past all the hard parts and forces them to create these wonderful pieces, some of which I won't let them sell because I need to see them in our house every day. Now back to Create Your Program. We have added an 11th week. After meeting weekly for 10 weeks, we amp it up in the final week with more meetings and more support. And here's the hard-ass deadline. You have to submit your registration page for your program in order to attend week 11. And then during week 11, you take steps to launch your program while we're together. You walk over the finish line with me and your cohort in real time. And it's called Nausea Week. And that's because getting visible and asking for help are really hard to do, and they can make us queasy. And during Nausea Week, you'll be doing both of those things. And it's totally worth it. When you actually launch your program, you are way closer to creating the business you really want. And you get to actually start serving the people you made your program for. I would love to have you join me in Create Your Program. As this is dropping, we are enrolling right now, and the last day to sign up is March 26th. But as you are listening to this, we are already half full. So please register now. I cannot wait to help you walk over the finish line and launch your signature program. You can register at rebeltherapist.me/create. All right, I'll see you next time. I want to thank Ames Palms for editing this podcast. If you found this episode supportive, please do a couple of things. Share it with your favorite therapist or healer. That is absolutely the most important way we reach more people. And if you haven't already, please hit follow and give us 5 stars. That is so helpful to this podcast. And thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.